NCRP Productions presents New Dallas, an Alien RPG campaign series podcast, episode 16. Welcome back to Alien New Dallas. This is Barry, your game master. We are getting ready to play, and I'd like to have everyone introduce themselves, and we will get started. Josh, let's start us.
Hello, everybody. This is Josh. I am playing Seegson, Employee of the Year 2179, Lance Bateman.
Hello, everyone. This is David, and I'm playing Colonial Marine Sargent Alister Rictor.
Hi, it's Sequoia, and I'm running Dr. Elizabeth Langtree.
Hey everybody, it's Pedro, and I'm running Bloodhound Baird, the Colonial Marshal of these parts.
So, last session, we ended with you guys kind of off time from each other, and before I do my runaround about what happened for everyone, I'm going to kind of catch us partway up. I'm going to start with Lance and Cole. The two of you were inside the marshal's office, and in came the Merriweather brothers running down the hallway saying, "We got a bomb." After realizing that it is probably not a bomb, but having Thompson, your bomb tech person working on it, you guys followed the Merriweathers out to their farm. At the farm, you got to meet Jed and Petunia, their parents, father and mother, and you guys were brought out into the field where they found the supposed bomb. What you guys ended up finding instead was a downed space transport, a small vehicle. It looks like it impacted in the very far end of their field. You guys, if I remember correctly, we talked about the distance. You guys were out over a half mile. There I am switching from kilometers to miles again. But you guys were out about a half mile out before you actually came to it. And you guys noticed that the transport ship itself is a LaSalle biotech transport ship. And you noticed out a little ways from the, I'm going to call it crash site, although it's really more of an impact site, that there were footprints leading off. And both you, Cole, and Lance noticed those footprints were walking at a near perfect gait, suggesting Lance's feeling that they are a synth. And Cole, you followed it quite a ways out until you got to a point past the field, these large mutated cornfields that we have. You got a point past the edge of the field, and at that point you noticed that they seem to be walking absolutely straight to the USCMC base about 2 kilometers away. There we switch back to kilometers. So coming back from the farm, you had told the boys, hey, this is out of my jurisdiction. I'm turning it over to the military. You had told Jed and Petunia the same thing. And the two of you hopped in the vehicle. Now, would you have hopped in the vehicle to make the call with Bateman?
No, so I would have, told Bateman, all right, Bateman, before we hop back in the car, I need to call this into the military real quick. Go ahead and wait out here, private channel and all that.
You got it, Marshall.
All right, thank you.
Have a cigarette outside.
All right, so when you make the call, and you're going to make the call to your only connected person, which is Sergeant Alister Rictor, you get his, I'm going to call it voicemail.
Okay.
So what message do you leave?
Ah, Christ. Hey, Rictor, it's Marshal Baird. So, had a little bit of a situation out in the Merriweather farms out here. Yeah, you remember those two boys? Yeah, I know you do. But anyway, looked like some kind of downed craft, a LaSalle biotech transport ship. And based on the tracks that were leading away from it, it looked like we might have had a synth inside of it. So anyway, I followed the tracks, and it looked like the tracks were leading right towards the military base. So kind of feels like that might end up being a military jurisdiction right there. So I wanted to let somebody know y'all might have something. If that's y'all's ship, that's where it is, and you might have your bot back. So that's where that's at. But if not, might be something to look into. My number is space 5555552. End space. All right, have yourself a click. It's done.
And you hang up?
Yeah.
So then where we have is you and Bateman heading out of the cornfields. At the farther end of the evening, Dr. Langtree, you had spent more time with Dr. Kamari, getting to know her. You guys had finished out your shift where you had dealt with an injured Private Coombs.
Yes.
This is the second time you've worked on him.
For the same kind of injury.
For the same kind of injury, actually from the same creatures.
Yeah.
But you were able to do it this time with your full medical pods and the full medical facility, so you feel a lot better about the way you left him. You then went with Dr. Kamari back to her home. She had talked about setting up a deal with you where she was not certain she would be coming back. So if she didn't come back, provisionally the house is yours in a sale. If she doesn't make it, at some point you'll be asked to pay off her heirs. You don't know who that is at this point, but you'll be asked to pay off her heirs. And otherwise, the house is yours. And she takes you through there. You guys cooked dinner, and then she invited you to come into town with her as she showed you around town. So Andy's Drop is a town of 6,000 people. It's mostly people starting to set up either their business within town that's going to support the people around living there, or it's going to be somebody who's something dealing with the spaceport and bringing stuff off planet, either New Dallas Oil, which is the oil company for the planet that's working with Weyland-Yutani, or potentially some of the other exports that are coming through. But City Center has a few entertainment places, movie houses. She had told you there's a playhouse coming online, and a few bars, which is where you ended up that evening with her.
Did you name the bar that we ended up at?
I do not believe that I have yet. If you have a name, I'll definitely take it from you. There are a couple, and this was, I would guess, the description that was given by Brooks to Rictor was, that's the bar that's kind of the quieter, more relaxed bar. And that's where you guys went. While you're thinking of potentially a name or not, Rictor, you finished with Coombs back at the hospital. You went back with Brooks to update the major on the results. You handed over, although I don't know if we talked about it on screen, you handed over all of the things you had. Your action report was finished. The residue that you found, the black box that you found, turned it over to your inspection service there at the military base. You spoke with the major, and the major had given you 2 days off with a possible third day if Coombs is not ready for action on the third day. But you have 2 days off for R&R. You let Stevens and Navarro, who were waiting at the medical center, know. They came back, and the group of you, the three of you, went into town with Brooks. Brooks has been here for a while, so he kind of knew where he was at, and he was giving you these different descriptions. Brooks and the other two, boom, headed right into, we're going to call it the action bar, and you decided to head over to the quieter bar. When you came in, you had just seen Goran Thorson walking away from the doctor's table. Goran did not have any success in what he was trying to do. And you came over, tried to buy them a couple of drinks. Dr. Kamari seemed to be accepting of it. Dr. Langtree kept it very professional and had mentioned to you that she had hit her 2-drink limit and she wasn't going to drink anymore. You then proceeded to continue talking and left with Dr. Kamari. Dr. Kamari on the way out handed Dr. Langtree a set of keys and said she'll see you tomorrow. And that is where we left it. So I'm going to begin first with Marshal Baird and Lance Bateman, with you guys heading back because you are a few hours behind the other two. You guys are heading back to...
Well, I believe now we're going to be going and investigating the Landassayer's location.
Okay.
Fred Jones.
And
you're going to know what really
Lance
happened to Fred Jones.
Yes, Lance brought it to my attention.
He's my coworker, so I have a vested interest in his good health.
Yes,
And
okay.
because it's somebody part of a corporation, I figure this is he's a consultant right now.
Lance, do you remember which of the deputies you spoke to who was first on site with that? I have it as Thompson, but nope, not Thompson. I'm sorry. I have it as Donalds.
Donalds, yes.
Is that right to you as well?
Yes.
All right. So, would you have told Cole Baird that information, that you know that a Deputy Donalds had been the one?
I specifically stated that I got Deputy Donald's report, and I'll leave it at that.
So, you guys head over there.
Yeah.
At the space, you'll notice that now, Lance, when you went in, because this paper is not here for you, is what she said, or this tape is not here for you. Did you tear it all down? Did you?
Not if I didn't have to.
Or did you
No.
step
Yeah.
around it?
I mean, I'll move lightly when possible, not like a bull.
So
in a china
as you
shop.
approach, the caution tape is still in place. The door is shut.
So we pull up, and I'm gonna stop, turn off the car. I'm gonna say, all right, look, Bateman, we're going in here. Right now, I'm gonna go ahead and say that since you're tagging along, officially you are going to be, under the consultant category.
Thank you, Marshall.
So you see anything, you don't touch it. You let me see it first, and then I'll ask you for your consulting if need be. So you find evidence, you stop, you call me in, and let the Bloodhound do his work, and then I'll flip, head out, tap the hat, on, and then go.
So-
those squiggly things right away for you.
So do you tear the tape?
Yeah, you know what? I'm the goddamn marshal. So I go over and I just,
Tear the tape, open the door.
Get this shit out of here.
So when you guys go in, do you leave the door open?
No. So I'll go in, and so I'm entering a home. So hand on the gun.
You're entering a business.
I'm entering
But
a
hand on the
business.
gun is totally fine.
Regardless, entering a building, hand on the gun. So open the door slowly. And
You don't call her. You're going to have your hand on the gun, but you're not going to say anything. You just creak open the door.
as it opens up, all right, now is anybody home? Anybody in here?
There's no noise.
Squars.
See, now if I had a shotgun, I would
should've
just
been
cock
here.
that, and that would be the second warning. But now I wish I had one. So I'll say, all right, and so I'll open the door all the way, and I'm gonna look for a light switch.
Perfect. That's not a problem. You're able to find it. Again, I was thinking about this, and I told you guys a little bit about the sun, and then I realized that I just threw physics completely out the window. I'm not exactly sure how a two-star system exactly works, but what I envision is, because the sun, contrary to the 1400s before, the sun does not revolve around the Earth. It's the other way around. So what I envision is that we have the Earth going around the sun, the main sun, in the same way that we go around our own sun. So that gives you effectively the number of hours. I'm going to call it 24 just to be ease, the 24-hour one. The second one, the way I looked at it is, as we go through the year, there's a bit of a wobble to the way the Earth goes, so that sun goes up and down across the equator. If my memory serves, it's like an 8-degree pinch. And what it does is it changes, it's cooler in the winter because the sun's farther away. We get less shorter days and longer nights, that type of thing. But what I envisioned for the second one, which Sequoia had asked, was it basically staying up later? Were we looking at an Alaska thing where they had like a pure daylight one? I'm not exactly sure how that would work for the second sun as we rotate. So what I'm assuming is that second sun is effectively moving in some kind of tangential orbit to the main one. So there is a portion, basically the winter portion of the year, winter being the colder portion because that second sun is not giving you heat, that portion of the year, it sits out longer on the hemisphere you guys are in, and then it kind of ends up switching hemispheres going to the other side as it rotates to the other side of the sun. It goes slower, you guys are going to have a lot more light, so there's a tremendous amount of ambient low light. We're going to say dusk level light even when it's night. So some light.
Okay, cool. Because I was picturing like it's pitch, like it's
Not pitch
okay.
black.
Cool.
And lights go on, no problem, and immediately both of you will see the same thing. There's the small bleeded blood area where Fred was found.
Well, that's pretty easy to find. All right, so I guess that's where he failed.
Found it.
The chalk line.
Bloodhound, you done it again. Hot damn. Take my hat off, hit my knee, and I call this an open and shut clip. Right there.
That's exactly what Deputy Donalds did, Marshall.
Now-
We got to look for the clues that are not easy to find.
So,
And Donald's did close the case. I mean, he as far as the case is for him, Fred came in. He must have passed out or felt lightheaded. He's pretty sure he hit his head on the cabinet that you see there. Although as closer look, doesn't look like there's any damage to the cabinet. Also doesn't look like there's any blood or anything from the back of his head hitting it. But that's what he surmised, is he must have passed out and then fallen there. he did not find anything that would suggest some kind of, purposeful attack.
So
against
obviously someone tampered with the oxygen system.
So that was Donald's report, right?
That was
Reducing the
his report.
amount of air in the room, causing Fred to go lightheaded and pass out. This is sabotage with an intent to murder.
Hey, Bateman. Do you remember the order that I said that the investigation goes back in the car? I have not yet done my part, so...
I hope you reviewed the report from Deputy Donalds. That's all I'm saying.
I'm sorry, the report?
And he can hand it to you.
This thing, here. I have a copy.
Did Donald's give this to you?
Yeah, I got a copy, right? Whenever
It's a copy.
Yeah.
Okay, so Donald's gave you a copy of it.
And you would probably ask, so I'm just going to do it for you. You would ask him, how the hell did you get this?
Yeah.
And what he's going to tell you is, he said, as the operating Seegson
Lance
executive
Bateman.
for Planet, he's got, because it's something that happened in his place.
He has a
Okay.
paper copy.
No,
Yeah.
he has a copied copy. But yes, he has a print copy.
It's
exactly.
a cellulose print.
Yes.
The screenshot of it and print it.
Right, and it is portionally redacted, which you would expect.
Yeah.
It is completely above board. It's still a little weird.
Yeah, okay, so
Yeah, you
I
can request these kind of records.
You
normally.
can.
So I say, all right, well,
just takes
let
a
me
little
go
while
ahead
longer,
and peruse
but
this
this is an
real quick.
emergency.
Because you said it's so not very detailed, I'm sure
Yeah.
it takes a quick 2 seconds
It's
to
a
read.
quick passover, and basically what you get is that the victim. Would it be a victim if there's no crime? Anyway,
I think he's a victim.
I'm going to go with victim.
That's my position.
I'm
glad he's coming
upon his
around.
arrival, he found Fred in a pool of blood with a. I never came up with Jen's last name, but Jen was there. She had been the one who called. When he started to talk to Fred, Fred said he didn't understand. He didn't know what happened. He must have passed out. He knows he all of a sudden felt lightheaded, and that's the last thing he can remember.
Okay, so this is what's going to happen. Mechanically speaking, I'm going to be using my investigator talent.
Perfect.
And this is when I spend a turn in a room, I roll for observation, and for each success, I get to ask some questions.
Perfect. I love it.
What's going to be enacted is I'm going to say, all right, Bateman, I want to go ahead and step out onto the threshold. I need to get to work. This is just kind of my process.
Well, I'd be happy to help you, Marshall. I mean, I'm pretty good at looking around too.
Excellent. So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and survey the land. I just need to take one moment. It's a process, Everybody,
You got it.
everybody has a little bit of a
I'll
process.
let you do your thing. I mean,
Okay. So I wait for him to step out, and so I step out with him. And so what I do is I go ahead and take my sunglasses off, which I still have on. Mm-hmm. Put them in my pocket, and I make sure my hat's nice and square. Take that deep breath in. And then I basically just go into Bloodhound mode, where I turn around and I'm going to think in my head about Donald's report.
Yep.
And I'm going to basically try and become the land assayer and
Sure.
see what happened. So it's very just like you see Cole, he just takes that breath in, and you see him just start walking in, and it's like this. If you've ever seen the Boondock Saints,
That's
it's
exactly what
very
I was
much like
They
that.
more like Hannibal.
I just
like-
go into it.
I
Yeah,
got
like
that
more like
sense
Yeah.
from the beginning of your
Yeah.
description.
And so then I go
Willem
in,
Dafoe.
and I, in my head, I see these strands of basically sense of things that I think he could have been doing or could have happened.
Sure.
And so I, follow that strand of Donald's report, and I see instantly that's, going to probably be BS. So let me go ahead and
All right.
see how many I roll. I'm going to make an observation roll.
Okay.
And let's see. I do have one stress.
Why do you have one stress?
I don't know.
Mark it
it's
off.
probably gone.
Yeah,
I
it's
had
gone.
one, too.
Yeah, anyone who has stress right now should not have it.
We had a nice, relaxing car ride over.
Yes.
Oh man, okay. I am gonna push it because,
All right.
and so I add. Now I add.
Now you have
stress.
one stress. So you're like you're walking through there. Go ahead and roll, but you're walking through there, and you are thinking there has to be something different. I mean, Bateman may piss you off, but he's not unobservant.
Yeah. So I only got one success,
All right.
unfortunately.
But you get to ask me a question.
Yes.
All right.
Let's see. So the question is what happened here, and is there? Let's see.
That's two questions.
If so, where? Oh yeah, that's one full question. What happened here, and is there anything hidden here? If so, where?
Okay. So as you walk around, you kind of move to different spots. You're trying to figure out how Fred got so unlucky as to basically pass out, hitting the back of his head on the desk or on the filing cabinet, and then falling forward so that his head had rolled onto the floor as opposed to hitting it face first or on his side. Going through it, you're looking at the ground, and you're looking farther at the ground, and you notice that the area around where the drop is appears to not have been swept, but appears to have been moved through quite a bit. Now that could be Donaldson and this Jenny person who is on that listing, but it could be something else. But that's all you really see. It's very possible, although unlikely, that is actually what happened. Now, that's a turn. That's about 10 minutes. And during that time, Lance, as you're kind of standing by the door, Jenny comes around. Now, she has that perfectly smart, although her blouse is buttoned up all the way correctly this time, she has that perfectly smart walk as she comes around. And as she comes towards you, she says, Lance, Mr. Bateman, what are you doing outside the assayer's office? And then she before you even say anything, she notices the tape. Did you go inside? Did you cut through the tape?
I'll just kind of straighten my lapel and say, that's Consultant Lance Bateman of the local marshal office.
She gets an odd look. She goes, so you're all right. So who's inside?
Well, Marshal Baird, of course. Who else?
And her kind of haughty tone kind of changes to, oh. And she will stand there with you. She goes, well, what's he doing? Which should be an obvious question or obvious answer without her asking, but she asked anyway.
It's a crime scene investigation.
I go ahead and give me an observation roll yourself.
Just to ask,
Yes.
Was there anything hidden?
Nothing.
Nothing.
The hidden component was it looks like something's been moved around here, but
Awesome.
it could possibly still be people moving through.
I rolled 1, but I'm going to push it.
You're gonna push it, okay?
And then I rolled 2 more.
All right, so you have 3 successes. No panic.
No.
All right. So what are you gonna do with the extra 2?
Well, what am I observing exactly?
Well, what you're observing is her. So go ahead and grab the book. You can take a look at the other options. You'll notice that her buttons are off. No. So what you notice is that when she asks
super observant.
she seems to be a little put off. Not solid. And the thing that you see with her is this is a woman who has obviously fought her way up. You've seen women like this. You have had pretty good success with women like this. This is somebody that believes that all men are against her being in the workplace. She knows she's smarter than the other men. Not she thinks she is. She knows she is. She knows she's done everything that's necessary, but because of the position that the corporation seems to take, she has a very difficult time moving through it. She's gotten her position here by her own abilities, but you actually even saw it with the way that Brad was. She's constantly trying to prove herself. So any time that she is not just so, it will stand out to you. The average person would never even notice it, but for you, you notice that. And she is not just so.
So, for one of my extras, can I tell if she seems suspicious at all, or guilty, or like?
So you are feeling there is something else there. Suspicious is the overall thing. I'm not going to tell you guilty or not, but there is something odd.
She doesn't seem to be hiding anything.
Not particularly. You're curious. Your curiosity should run to why is she concerned that the marshal is in there since she already had a marshal show up.
Right.
Or a deputy marshal, but they're all marshals.
It's an ongoing investigation.
Yeah, I mean they come back more than once. So tell me, Jenny, were you good friends with Fred?
And she gets a look, and then she gets kind of this wry smile. She goes, "Oh, you're being funny. You know, Fred came in on the shuttle with you. He was new here. He was a
Fred could make friends quickly. I mean, I was his friend. I would consider myself his friend. So."
And again, you fluster, and she says, "Well, no, I mean, I'm certain that Fred would have considered me a friend. I mean, I did help bring in a couple of his files, and I did, set his computer up. But
well, that was friendly.
I didn't
of
know
you.
him that well. Why do you ask?
I was just curious, wondering what makes you so curious about this ongoing investigation is all, and if you should be a person of interest for.
Oh, that
Further
that
questioning?
just stops her. She goes.
Bateman.
So she just kind of stops and looks at you and goes, Mr. Bateman, I think you seem to have this well in hand as a consultant. You know where I am if you need me. And she turns perfectly on her heels and walks away.
Quite suspicious.
So, Baird, that's what you have. You're done.
Okay, so looking around, so I haven't found anything else to. Can I? The other thing I would look for is, and I don't know if it's encompassed in this, is if there's any kind of like cameras in here.
No, there are no cameras in here.
Okay, and damn. Okay, so I think I've searched the place pretty well.
You pretty well think you have it in hand. So, end result is, it's very possible that what Donald's wrote is what happens. There is maybe, your calculating mind says there's maybe an 8% chance that there's something else going on here that you don't know about. But again, you feel the same way. You don't feel like it's something. I keep wanting to say you don't feel it's an assault. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't think it's an assault.
I have just a world question. Are most doors keycard like at the hospital, or is that
Most doors are doors.
Oh, they're like handles and
Yes,
stuff.
it's abnormal to be
Okay.
key card.
Okay.
Okay, well then, if I have everything and I don't have, so basically I don't have any evidence that this is foul play. It sounds like Donald's and
You
report
think
is
he
actually
did a good job.
You could send the engineering team over, though, Marshall, if you want to get a look at the air filtration system, just to make sure there wasn't any discreet tampering that maybe went unnoticed.
Well, Bateman, I'm leaning towards Donald's being right. I mean, looks like the Sayer's just clumsy. But I still want to check with him. I'll go talk to him. Did I have a report if he's conscious?
No, you wouldn't have it on your report.
Okay.
Your report says taken to medical center.
So I'll check in the morning.
You know somebody at the medical center.
That's what I was going to say. Could we just call Dr. Langtree?
Oh yeah. You know what? Actually, Bateman, let's go call Langtree, see if he's there or awake, and we can go.
So
maybe
calling Langtree would actually, in this case, unless one of you that I don't know about has a private connection, would be calling the medical center.
Yeah, basically. I don't think.
So as you call into the medical center, you get a nurse.
Hi, this is Marshall Baird. I'm calling for Dr. Elizabeth Langtree. Is she in?
I'm sorry, the doctor has left for the evening. I have on call.
I'll say this too, is that Elizabeth is the kind of person who would have the same phone number for 20 years.
Right, but neither of them has a reason to have it, is what I was getting at.
No.
That's why I was asking. Dr. Morrison is here. May I connect to you?
Yeah, but did Dr. Langtree happen to leave a direct contact number in case we do need to contact her?
Marshall, I apologize, but Privacy Act would not, unless this is a, and she's very, and she's kind of gotten very surly. She says, you know the law. I mean, people's privacy and such. I can certainly pass a message for you.
That's completely fine. If you don't want to give me that number.
The message that you'd like to pass?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you don't want to speak with Dr. Morrison?
No, I do want to speak to him still.
Very good.
You could just tell Dr. Langtree if she wants. This is my contact information, and I'll give her my personal number.
Perfect.
And if she would like to send me hers as well in case I need to speak to the medical director, she may. Anyway, can I speak to the on-call person?
Yep. So Dr. Morrison is a few moments.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Dr. Morrison. This is Colonial Marshal Cole Baird. I'm the new marshal around these parts.
Oh, Marshall, I'm very pleased to meet you. We were sorry to hear that about your predecessor. Is there news on his whereabouts yet?
No, it's on the list to get in part of the investigation. But right now, I'm looking into something else. And I don't remember the Sayer's name, so I lift up the file and see what's the Sayer's name.
Fred Jones.
Fred Jones. Is Mr. Fred Jones, how is he doing? I'm taking a look at the investigation of what happened to him.
If you'll give me just a moment, and you hear him clack, clack, clack on the keys for a few minutes, and he says, well, Fred appears to be resting for the evening. He will be discharged tomorrow morning. It looks here Dr. Langtree did a full once-over with Dr. Kumari's overseer. I digress. Mr. Jones was brought in with a laceration to the back of his head and showing some signs of concussion. We kept him here to check him out, but he seems to be fine. All vitals, give me a moment. You hear a couple of clicks. He says, yes, all vitals on last pass-through look good.
Were there any mentions or findings of any kind of intoxicants in his system?
That's not normally something we do. Does the marshal's office need blood work?
No, I'm just trying to, figure out what happened. But I can talk to him in the morning if he's already asleep. It is pretty late. I just wanted to get an update
It's
on
not that late.
How late is it?
It's maybe 6.
Oh,
yeah,
then,
it's not that late.
Oh,
You can
okay, so
actually
then that's
come there.
reasonable. And then,
Yeah.
okay, well then I'll be by shortly. I want to go and talk to him since
Very good.
it's apparently not that late.
Now that I check my watch, it's not that late.
Right again,
after all.
I'm catching the two of you back up to the other
I know
two.
what time it is.
Okay,
you
so
tell me how
we'll
late
head
it
down there.
All right.
So Bateman, all right, let's load up.
As you leave, do you say anything about Jenny? I'm trying
yeah.
to rush past things, but not rush.
Yeah. Marshall, I found it pretty interesting. The real estate agent next door, Jenny, I believe her name is. She sure does seem kind of interested in this whole investigation.
I'll stop at the door and I'll say, have you spoken to...
I interviewed her briefly.
When did you decide to do this, and when were you going to... You decided to tell me now. When did this happen?
Yeah, 5 minutes ago, just outside the door.
Bateman, do you remember our conversation about...
I didn't want to disturb your investigation, Marshall. You seemed like you were in the zone, and I just wanted to let you do your thing, and you asked me not to bother you, so...
All right, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and chalk that up to my bad. I did not tell you explicitly to
My bad.
the directives on when to interrupt me.
It does seem kind of suspicious, and I mean, we can't put it past anybody that anybody here could be, passing information back to Wayland Yutani, or could be, plotting some sort of attack on some Seegson or Colonial personnel.
I just kind of suck on my teeth for a second.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had people in all the buildings, all the government buildings here, the mayor's office, the marshal station. I mean, probably the medical center.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and keep that in the back of my mind. Where'd she go? You said she's right there.
Oh, she kind of took off in a hurry. I might have tipped my hand a little bit there.
So you had a person of interest, and you tipped your hand, and now this person of interest knows they're a person of interest and has skedaddled.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you get a skedaddling direction?
Up the street. Yeah, I mean.
Did she just bail? Okay, I'd say, did you see where she went?
Well, I assume she went back to her office, which is next door.
What was Jenny's role in the investigation as well?
She's the one that found Fred, and she's the one that called the marshal's
Okay,
office.
so she just found him. Okay,
Yes.
so I say, all right, well, that would have been, just for future reference, if I am in the zone, there are a few things to interrupt me, you are correct, but one of them is a person of interest. So keep
Understood.
that in
I
mind,
apologize.
Consultant Bateman.
Boston investigation. Baby.
Okay, so then,
First
since
one.
she's in the wind, we'll just head to the hospital.
She's in the wind.
Well, wait,
She's around the corner.
She's in the tower
He said she's probably at her office next door.
Okay. He
took off.
It sounded like she's just gone. And he didn't know. If she's in her
Call
office,
military.
Yeah.
He doesn't. All right, so he doesn't know that she's
Okay.
in her office, but he watched her walk in the direction of her office.
okay, so then I'll use my detective skills to say that maybe we should go to her office then.
Okay.
Lock down the airport.
We'll get in the car.
Set up the barricade.
Drive down the block.
You're getting out the tire spikes.
We will shoot you, Jenny.
All right, Jenny, you come out of that house right now with your hands up.
And I'm thinking L.A. stories with Steve Martin where he crosses the street by getting in the car, starting it, turning and doing the U-turn, parking on the other side and getting out.
Effectively, yes. So,
Do you shut the door? Do you reattach the caution tape?
yeah, well,
Okay.
yeah. I'll do
All right.
my
You've been flustered so far, so I figured I'd ask.
Thank you.
All right. So you guys walk the, 45, 50 feet to the office.
Got the bullhorn out.
No. 2 rounds in the air. Blam, blam.
Let the hostages go.
Let Brad out. Let Brad walk out alive.
I'm deputized you, Bateman. Here is your deputy's assault rifle and your backup assault rifle.
All right.
Okay,
So you get to the door.
Yeah. And yeah, so I'll
Go in.
yeah, go. If it's a business, then I'll go in.
right. So as you come in, Jenny, obviously Jenny, because there are 2 people. So let me back up. As you come in, you see to the left there's a desk with a computer, and there's a woman behind it who looks up at you and kind of her eyes open wide, and she kind of pulls back a little bit. Straight ahead of you, not to your left, straight ahead of you, is another desk with another computer, and you can see a head kind of bopping up and down with a set of headphones on it facing away from you.
So I'll step in and I'm gonna go ahead and look over at the woman with the wide eyes and say, "Now I'm gonna guess you're Jenny."
Yes, I. and she gets a look. And you can see that the eyes kind of close a little. She goes, "Lance."
Kind of peeking over.
Right. She
His
saw
shoulder
you
a little bit.
And then she turns to the left. She's like, "Brad," and she's, "Yes. Can I help you, Brad?"
Yes, well, Jenny, I'm just following up on what happened with Mr. Jones down the way there.
Oh, and she looks visibly calmer, but she looks over one more time. She takes a pencil and throws it at the bobbing head. She's like, "Brad!" And Brad comes up and is like, "Son of a gun, what the? Oh, hello, can we help you?"
Well, hey there, Brad. Yes, I'm just. You can go back to doing what you need for your job. I'm just talking to Miss. What was the last name there, Jenny?
Mullins, Jenny Mullins.
Miss Mullins. So you don't worry your little head about it.
So
From the block.
So Brad kind of looks at you, looks at her, looks at you, takes the headphones off and sits down and comes just under the level of the screen where you absolutely know he is eavesdropping.
That's fine.
right.
It's
So
more of to see
she
if
says, Marshall, and she gestures to the 2 seats in front of her.
I'll say, all right, thank you, Bateman. You can go ahead and take a seat too. Then I'll sit down. I'll say, all right, Miss Mullins. So could you just go ahead and run through me that night that you found Mr. Jones?
You mean this morning? So,
Yeah, this morning. And I'll look at. Yes, this morning. Thank you.
You're and again, you guys haven't slept.
Yeah.
Right?
I apologize. I have a few different cases under my belt right now. This morning, yes.
And when you say that, she does get kind of a surprised look, and she says, "Oh, my understanding is you were supposed to have arrived yesterday. And she just seems to have changed her whole kind of outlook. Just kind of changed. She said, sorry. So I was coming to work this morning. I got an alarm code for the assayer's office. I know that Fred was supposed to be coming in, but she should have had his code. And I came in and I noticed the door was open. I entered and I went over to I did tell Deputy Donaldson this, but I went over and he had a fairly good sized gash on the back of his head. He was laying on the floor. He was crumpled sideways, and I did tell your deputy this, but I laid him on his back. It seemed to be more comfortable in the night, and then I immediately called the medical office or the medical center. I immediately called the medical center.
Okay, and that corroborates, how he was positioned when they found him and everything. Okay, I'll say, all right. Well, that seems to check out from what was told to me. Now, when you came in, did you said you flipped him over? Did you?
Well, not flipped him. I rolled him, and she kind of makes with her hands to show you what she did.
Yes. Did you have any? Was he a large person?
No.
Okay.
No, that's that's Thor.
So then,
Thorson.
did you just go to him? Did you run through the house at all? Did you just help him call?
I know you said house, but you meant office.
Yeah, office.
She says, no, the door was open. He was there on the floor. I walked right up to him.
Okay, and I'm just gonna look and see. I'm gonna see if she's just trying to hide anything.
You don't need to roll.
Okay.
No, she's taken on a different look than the consummate professional. She seems to be very focused on trying to give you everything. She doesn't look dodgy at all. I'm not going to have you waste a roll where you're going to potentially have a...
Okay, then
Doesn't it seem a bit suspicious at all, Marshall, that she still had the key code for the room? Wouldn't have Fred changed that key code, or do you have like some kind of backdoor key code?
And she's watching backwards like, Lance, what are you talking about? I'm the one who releases them.
Right, but wouldn't he have changed it once he took possession of the building?
Well, now, Jenny, would you need to facilitate changing?
Yes, yes, I would. And she looks. So this is going to be something for you to watch. So she looks at Lance. She goes, "So Lance, in the case that someone say wanted to set up a business location and they wanted to have access to it, initially they would be given access to it, but at the point when they went in, they would go in and change their codes. That wasn't done. He hadn't had the chance. That was the reason the alarm went off."
Okay, just asking the questions people are wondering is all.
People?
Then I'll
I'm
say,
a person. I mean,
you said an alarm went off?
Well, when I say alarm, she says, she takes her computer screen, she turns it halfway. She says, "So Marshall," and she does turn it so it's not facing the Bateman. She turns it. She says, "So Marshall presently seeks and is in control of all these offices," and you'll see a kind of a schematic of a small portion of the town, and it populates with little green lights in boxes. She says, "This one here," and a little blue light, one of the greens changes to blue, says, "This is Fred's office. This is our office right here," she points out. And so you'll see that when I push this button, and you see the majority of them are red. His stays blue, and then a number of them are green. So a number of them went from green to red. She says that means that he's got his codes set and ready. He didn't put them in. He didn't change it over. I can't set them to him until he's there to do it. How's he doing, by the way?
I'll say, well, can't really discuss medical, anything medical.
And she visibly looks kind of shocked. She says, he's okay.
I say, "Now, miss, I can't discuss anything." And I'm just going to try and have a calming tone.
Okay.
I can't discuss anything about medical, someone else's medical. Now, that seems to all check out. So you saw that the alarm raised. You went over to go check on him.
Yes,
You
I
found
did.
the body.
Yes.
Okay. So,
The
excellent.
body. So he's
It's a figure, ma'am. It's a figure of speech. I'm sorry. You found Mr. Jones.
She starts to get control of herself. She starts to get control of
The
it.
victim.
I
You found the
apologize.
victim.
It's a figure of speech. Don't worry. And so then I'll say, all right, well, that sounds like all that I need. Thank you. You've been very helpful. If there's any... you seem to have, the in for all this. Are there security cameras in any of these places? Like, is there footage from within there?
She turns the screen back to herself and clacks a couple keys. She says, "No, not yet. Actually, the majority of the buildings here don't have them. Ours, of course, does. But I'm sure Fred will set them up. Is that something the marshal's office needs?"
Well, if it was there already, I was going to say, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Just want to see.
I'm assuming the plugs are there, but nothing's been set up.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you for your help. You have yourself a good evening.
And you too, Marshal. And she looks over and she says,
see you, Jenny.
"Lance."
I think I could cross my Jenny favor off the favor list.
Go ahead and give me an observation roll.
It's never gonna.
You need to see if she hates this man.
1 success.
Okay, so with 1 success, there's definitely something between Jenny and Lance. You're not sure what. You're reasonably sure it's not sex. But you're not sure what. Okay? So as you guys are going out, you can hear Brad as you're shutting the door go, "Who are you calling?" She says, "The medical center," as the door shuts.
So, I mean, after this, about Will Bateman, I don't think Jenny likes you very much.
Well, sometimes you got to be the bad guy, Marshall, to get the truth out of the real situations here.
I'll just chuckle over there. Well, I mean, I guess I know that's the truth.
Anything else that either of you want to do for the evening?
I mean, other than just going to check on him, but, other than just asking him.
Yeah, going and checking on him. He's fine. He's been knocked in the back of the head. The stitches are there. He's very nice and happy to see you. Glad that we're all through that thing, and he wants to hit you with a couple of the reminiscences of it was really crazy going down that hill, that kind of thing. Does Lance stay with you this whole time?
If Lance,
I'm interested in making sure.
So he'll say
Brad's
hello to
right.
you two. We really didn't get to meet, but he introduces himself, and then when you introduce yourself, he actually reacts like he knows who you are.
That's what I would expect.
Not some weirdness, but he says, "Oh, wow, Mr. B, you've been," and he seems kind of surprised. He says, "You've been sent out." He says, Are you the sector? I'm going to call it. Are you the sector exec then?"
Yes, Fred, that's correct, and that's why I take a personal interest in Seeks and employees' health and well-being.
Oh well, wow. He says, "Well, I got a bump in my head, but I'll definitely be at work tomorrow. They're releasing me. I'm fine."
Oh, I'm not worried about that, Fred. Take all the time you need. Take all the time. I did want to ask you, how did you fall exactly?
Well, I'm thinking it was about a 93, 95 degree turn from the back of the. And he's trying to give you like physics of how he
Mr.
fell.
Jones, he's asking, did you just stumble? Did you pass out?
Oh,
You seem like a healthy man, Fred. I mean, it just seems kind of odd that you would just
Well, I try.
reach your office
I
and
cut
just
out
pass
some
out.
of the carbs. I don't know. I remember getting an odd feeling, and I'm going to give him a roll to
Did
do
you lock your
observation for
knees?
himself.
Do I remember him getting injured at all?
He's the
No.
big guy, right? He's the big guy, right?
No,
Or is that-
that's Goran
oh.
Thorson.
Oh, okay.
So he says,
And Goran was on the ship too. I think?
"Oh yeah."
Okay.
Yeah.
He says, "Well, I remember heading into the office, and I remember that what I was supposed to do was I was supposed to hit the alarm code to reset it, and then I was supposed to put in the new stuff. And somewhere between hitting the alarm code and doing the reset," he says, I got kind of a stinging pain back here, and then I swooned. I guess I hit my head. The deputy, one of your men, had told me that I must have hit my head on the cabinet. I don't remember doing it, but I mean, he kind of points to the stitches. He says, but I can show you this, so I know something happened.
So he says stinging pain, and I'm like, he looks young and healthy,
Yep.
and I'm like, Mr. Jones, do you mind if I just look at what the doctor wrote about what they found, just to.
He just smiles and says, "You're the marshal."
So basically, what I'm looking is if there's pictures or anything, just the back of his neck, like
No. There's you can push on the little placard. You can push the thing and it'll show basically a topical scan of his head, but nothing that's going to help you in that way.
Okay.
And it's the standard kind of grainy. I mean, again, we're mixing 80s tech with modern, but it's kind of the grainy scan. But you've got basically a shuttle.
Green.
Yeah, everything's green, right?
So all right, well, and you
Screens
didn't get hurt. You weren't injured when we were, out and about, were we?
No, I mean, I got winded. That was a heck of a walk. But no.
All right, all right. I mean, we just investigate and make sure you're all right, make sure nothing
Well,
No foul play was afoot.
Well, no, I wouldn't think so. What possible purpose would there be? Yeah, no, Marshall. I think we're fine.
All right. Well, if you know,
Fred's 39.
yeah, I mean, it's a whippersnapper to me. Whippersnapper. So yeah, all right. Well, as long as you're all right and you're gonna heal on up, then that's all I need. It looks like you just, stressful day. Could have got a twinge in the neck. The doctors found out. If you want to get any kind of, if you weren't hurt or if you have allergies or I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but if you want to get any further testing, then get it done. But otherwise, it looks like you just passed out.
Well, thank you, Marshall. Now that you say the twinge, he says, yeah, it was right here, and he's just rubbing the back of his neck. I'm
gonna say
I'm not a doctor, but it just.
You care if I take a look?
Well, no, Marshall, of course.
I'm gonna spend 10 minutes staring at him.
Standard observation roll.
I take off my glasses. I take a deep breath in.
Go ahead and give me an observation roll.
Give him a little tickle.
By the way, your stress is gone.
Oh, okay, cool. Good.
Do you have a talent where you add dice at all, like Richter's Comtech talent?
Yeah. I mean, I get a +1 to observation.
Okay, all right. I was wondering. I was hoping you got something.
Yeah. No. I mean, I have 2 successes. All right.
Well, 2 successes is what you need. Again, normally 1 success will get you guys anything. There will be some extreme cases, and in this case, with his skin, he's not necessarily a thin man. He's not huge, but someone in their late 30s, eating comfortably and all of that. As you look at him, you manipulate the skin, and it looks like there's an injection site there. Well, it's terrible that you know about that, but in your line of work, you definitely know about that.
Well, I'll be damned, Mr. Jones.
And he's sitting there with your hands on his. What's up, Marshall?
Well, guess what, son? I'm sorry, but you're gonna be staying here just a little bit longer. Looks like we gotta get a talk screen on you. That right there, and I'm not gonna jab it, but I'm gonna poke near it just to kind of show, right there. It looks like some kind of injection site. So unless that's a doctor that did that, well, maybe someone was out for you, Mr. Jones. But we'll let the doctor figure out what was going on. So you stay tight here. I'm gonna go get a doc, and you have yourself a good evening. We'll figure out what's going on. You don't move your pretty little head, and I'll walk off.
All right, Bateman.
Thanks a lot, Fred. I knew there was something more to this. Just because we don't know the motive doesn't mean that nothing happened to you. So we're just going to take a little closer look. Keep yourself healthy and get healed quickly, and but no rush. And if you're not at work tomorrow, that's perfectly all right.
So as you go to leave, because Baird has already left, he says, "Mr. Bateman, why would somebody? There's nothing in there. I'm bringing most of the materials to start doing the assaying. There might be files from Weyland-Yutani's group, but what would somebody want? As far as I understand, I never even got to get up there. From what I understand, the residents upstairs where I'll be staying, there's nothing in there except furniture. What could someone possibly want?"
That, Fred, is a great question, and one I intend to get the answer to.
While you're talking to him, he reaches over, grabs a leather wallet, which is in a basically a bowl up there, pulls it, and he says, "Nothing. My money's here. My identity. What could somebody possibly want from an empty office?"
You got me, but here's my card, Fred, and if you come up with anything or remember anything else as you come to, just give me a call and let me know.
I assure you, Thank you, Mr. Bateman.
Yes.
And he sets the card.
Currently a consultant for the local Marshall station.
Oh, well, congratulations. And sets the card in with his wallet. So where do you go, Baird?
So I go to the doctor on call. Whose
Okay.
name I already forgot.
Right. So you're gonna go find Dr. Morrison.
Yeah. So I'll find the nearest nurse that I
Right.
see and say,
There you
where was Dr. Morrison at?
Give me just a moment. And the nurse, walks over to the wall mount, pushes it, and says, "Rose, could you page Dr. Morrison down to room 16? and you hear the Dr. Morrison, room 16, and you see a guy walking down the hallway towards you
Say,
guys.
hey, thank you there. And so then
And the
I'll
nurse
wait.
leaves.
Yeah, I'll wait for Dr.
You wait for
Morrison.
Morrison to actually get to you, so it's not that long of a walk. But he watches somebody and says, "Yes, may I help?" Marshall, as he notices the badge. So something that you haven't noticed other people doing. So there's something different about Morrison. I don't mean weird, just he's a little more aware of positions. So he looks and he says, "Marshall, what can I do for you?"
Ah, Dr. Morrison. So,
You're the one who called.
yes. Well, I was just a hair from getting out of here and, chalking this incident up to, Mr. Jones in there just getting a little dizzy and knocking himself out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I'll go in there and show you, but I found on the back of his neck
So
where he's...
Bateman, you're coming out as Baird and the doctor are starting to walk in.
Yeah, and so I'll say, I'll something on his neck, and I'll say, Mr. Jones, if you could, please.
Oh,
I'll just
yeah.
kinda hover.
So he leans forward and he points,
And I'll
then
say-
takes his hand out of the way.
Right there, Doc. That right there looks like an injection site to me that, Mr. Jones here doesn't know about. Now, did you guys inject him with anything while he was here?
He says, "No, I assure you, absolutely not." And he manipulates it with his finger and says, "Well, that's peculiar." And he starts asking questions of Mr. Jones. You have patient doctor confidentiality, and he looks at you, right, Marshall?
Yes.
I mean, if it's something that you do for yourself, be it thrust or anything else, and Jones immediately, first of all, looks at Bateman, right? And then looks up at the doctor and says, no, don't touch this stuff. Lots of friends that do, but never, not even once, not even in college.
I tried it, but I didn't inhale.
But I didn't inhale, exactly.
So I'll say, all right, well,
I
Doc...
stuck it in, but I didn't inject.
Oh, my God. So Doc, I'm going to go ahead and let you run if you could run some talk screens, try and
Well,
figure out
yes,
if he
of
was
course.
what was injected with, and go ahead and just, see if I can get a report tomorrow. If that's all right, or when it comes in, actually, and I'll flip out a card and hand it to him. Could you
He
just
takes-
give me a call?
Of course. And he walks over to the wall mat and he says, "Is
where I
Peterson
learned it.
available?" And you hear the same voice that was over the loudspeaker comes back and says, "He is, yes. Could you send him down to room 16? And he says, "Absolutely, Marshall. We'll get to the bottom of this."
And then I'll say, all right, Bateman, let's head on out. We're done for the night.
Right behind you, Marshall. Look, I just want to say, I really appreciate you taking the time to look into this further.
And as you're saying that to him, Bateman, as you guys are walking out, Fred says, "Really, Doc," and loudly in your direction, "I've never touched this stuff. I don't do any kind of narcotics."
I'll give him a look like you got nothing to worry about, Fred.
Secret's safe with you.
Say, all right, Bateman. Well, you get yourself a place then?
I think I got it all worked out. Thanks for checking. I won't need to stay another night in the Hotel de Marshall Station.
All right, we'll go ahead and clean up that room. All right, well, do you want me to just take you back there? I'm off for the night.
Yeah, that works for me. I appreciate the ride, too.
All right, so for evening, Marshall, what would you like to do? You currently don't have a place.
Yeah.
It is too late today to get one, so you have your place, obviously, at the Marshall Station.
Yeah, and I mean, it's still early evening.
Yep, absolutely. That's what I'm asking. What are you looking
To
to do?
be honest, and not in a, to meet way, I would probably go to a bar.
Okay.
And just try and see what the local area
So
is
as you
like.
come in and are looking, you quickly figure out that there's the Raucous Bar, there's the obvious drinking bars, and then there's kind of seems to be the Snobby Effete Bar.
I don't really feel... Go ahead.
I have a couple names to throw out.
Okay,
Ooh.
I'm ready.
So for the quieter, nicer bar, I
Yep.
was thinking it'd be the name would be Haley's Comet, but everyone would just call it Haley's.
Got
and
it.
Maybe like
I
the
like it.
owner. And then I was thinking for the crappy bar, the Lucky Duck would be kind of funny. But that one I'm less.
All
I was
right.
thinking for the Krabby Bar, Clyde's Cluster.
I like that too.
Clyde's Cluster.
Let's go to the cluster. That's funny.
Yeah, the cluster
Yeah.
is like a cluster of
I like
stars,
that
yeah.
more.
I need one more.
All right, that's you, Josh.
Wait, what was the last one? What's the last one?
Clyde.
No,
We've got
what's the-
Haley's Comet,
what's
Lucky Duck,
Another
and
shitty
Clyde's Cluster. And this one would be a less. This would kind of be the Everyman Bar.
The blue collar bar.
Yeah, kind of the blue collar bar, exactly. I want to go drink. I don't necessarily want to get hit on, but I don't necessarily want to fall asleep there.
The sticky wicket.
For the blue collar one.
We like to go down to this.
Let's see, blue collar.
We can come back to
we'll
that.
come back to
which of those
need to
would
go
you
there.
go to?
Blue collar are the
Not
like
the rockets
businessmen,
and
right?
I mean the.
No,
So
white
you're going
collar.
to the
White
sticky
collar.
wicket.
Oh,
Well,
the
I mean,
blue collar
like,
are the
so
farmers.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
if
sticky wicket.
the working man's bar, that wouldn't be like just corporate.
White collar,
would it?
yeah.
It would
No,
be-
no,
yeah.
I mean working man.
Then
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it'd probably be the working man's bar.
Tractor supply.
That'd be like
It's called Tractor Supply. I love it.
boar's nest.
Uh,
How about just blue collar?
yeah.
I don't hate it.
That's-
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just it's very on the point because
You're
they're
right.
like, you know what, we don't care. It's
So you go there, you drink. As you initially, when you come in, you're going to get the
nebula.
the response from the bartender once the bartender realizes. Bartender, like the doc, notices the marshal's badge as soon as you are close enough for him to. First response, of course, is the marshal. Everything okay? And
oh. No, and I'll take the marshal's badge off and tuck it away. I'll
Right.
say, no, I'm off duty. Don't worry.
well,
Just-
very good. Then he switches to, "How you doing? Pleasure to meet you." He introduces himself, gets you a drink, and the night will go from there.
Yeah.
For Bateman, you head back to your first story room that you will have at least for the near future. As you come in, you remember earlier in the day, one of the two beds, of course, is thrashed completely. The other bed, of course, has all your stuff sitting on it and it's made.
Cool.
What are you going to do for the evening? We're
So-
coming in around 7-ish.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get settled in, and I want to get my opening soon sign hanging in the door so that nobody bothers me, and just get all my gear, like my laptop, set up, and
All right, so you're going to stay in tonight.
yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, so as you start moving around, you'll notice that you have a blinking
I'm tired.
light on your phone, on your in-house phone,
Oh.
and you notice that it's one of those ones that's old enough that it actually blinks for the number of messages. You have 3 messages.
Boop.
All right. So as you go through, the first one is
Are they like video messages?
no, there's
That stuff you gave me last night.
Bateman, Lance, it's your mother. You haven't called recently. You can try to hide your number, but I always find it, Lance.
Oh, that's frightening.
Then you get the, where the fuck are you? I'm in the hospital having your kid. Where the fuck are you?
Well, I love it. So those are the first 2. The third one, I was gonna have a little work coming up with, but that's perfect. All right, so Lance does have an estranged mother, and potentially a bun that's just been released from the oven.
Thanks, Dave.
Oh, good. I'm glad he was born, buddy.
But then the last one.
Oh no!
Here's that Pedro.
The last one is Katrina Hill.
Oh.
And you don't immediately recognize her, but it's only a few words before you realize it's her. She says, "Lance, you're not there. This is Katrina Hill. I wanted to meet with you. I have some information I want to run by you before actually running in the expose. Do you possibly have some time either this evening or tomorrow? Call me." And you've got her number now.
Her space number.
Space number. Her contact. We're going to
Space
stay
number.
with contact. Again, I'm utilizing the PDD as the everything thing. So once somebody's got your number, just mark it down. You guys have the PDD contact, and you guys can still do all the stuff like send it to voicemail and
In the PDD is space silent, so it's supposed to be like SPDD, but they just no one mentions it.
still killing me from the first one when we had Space Tang. Because Tang is Space Tang.
It is, yeah.
Space orange juice.
Space! It's super space! It's the next step! It's the next
Space
frontier! It's not the final one, there's other ones.
Approved Tang.
Lance, what do you do?
So yeah, I'll go ahead and give her a call. I mean, I
Immediately.
don't really feel like it, but it seemed like
Well,
maybe
she
it's
said
time
tonight
sensitive.
or tomorrow.
Okay, so yeah, if I can wait, if it seems like I can wait in the morning, then I'll wait to the morning, because to remind everyone, I've only slept 2 hours since I got on the
correct.
planet. So I did pop a never sleep earlier this morning.
No.
Never sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like whenever I only got 2 hours in the Marshall station before I moved out, and so I'm still a little jacked on that, but I can see myself crashing hard pretty soon.
So couple of bottles out of the honor bar there. And
Yeah.
then-
Yes.
okay, so I'm going to run forward to next morning. So I'll start with you, Rictor. Obviously, with Kamari, you get up. She offers you, can I make you breakfast?
Absolutely.
So you guys head out. I don't know how you're
Wait, we
dressed.
head out. Wait a minute.
No, you head out to the kitchen.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how you dress, but she's going to cook you whatever it is that she cooks. I'm not going to worry about food, but whatever she cooks, it's excellent.
All right.
Very good.
I like her cooking. Yeah.
So she finishes up. She sits down with you. I'm assuming she's in kind of like a robe type thing, but not the cheesy cheap thing, but a nice,
I'm in
somebody
I'm in my boxes.
Right, I
boots
figured.
on and a cigar in my mouth.
right. Somebody who is, this is a well-to-do person who has confident wealth, not auspicious. She's
Got a
not trying to
terry
show
cloth
off.
blue.
Right,
thing on.
right. Something smart, but not cheap. So as you guys are eating, if you at some point, if you have your hand just sitting up there eating, left hand up eating with your right, she'll put her hand gently on your hand. She says, "Now, given you your real name,
Yeah.
and would she know you as Alister?"
Yeah.
All right. So she says, "Alister," and she puts her hand on yours. She says, "I want you to know that this is a one-time thing. And she gets a little misty. She says, I'm going to be leaving tomorrow."
Where are you going?
Well, and she then will kind of unload. She holds it together. She doesn't bawl or anything because that would be unseemly. But she tells you she has a fairly voracious sickness that is catching up with her. She's heading in system to Seoul in the hopes that they can do something there.
And you're leaving tomorrow?
I'm leaving tomorrow.
Well, I will let you know that, it is my intention to make good with Langtree, and in hopes of having a productive, collaborative, working relationship. And, maybe before you leave, since you are kind of handing the torch to her, maybe you can, I don't know, just put in a good word, not, just so that, she knows that I'm putting my best foot forward, representing the Marines, and how we operate with civilian entities, so that she's, so that we're on the same page.
She pats your hand. She says, I do understand. Clicking back, Dr. Langtree, did you talk to her at all in the hours of eating and cooking, or eating salad, cooking the dinner? Did you talk to her at all about what happened? Because I don't remember that you did, but would you have?
I would have gone over it generally, but any kind of any kind of beef that I had, I would have kept inside. That's not
Perfect. No, and that's why I was asking. I wouldn't have expected.
Yeah.
So she says, I will definitely do that, but we have always had at the medical center, we've always had a very strong working relationship, and I don't think that a new sergeant, especially one as nice as you, she pats your hand again, would cause any ruckus. So, but I will certainly put in a word for you, of course.
I stand up and say, well, yeah, definitely the last thing I'd ever consider myself being. Someone that might cause a ruckus, as I bend her over the kitchen table and give it to her one more time before she leaves planet. I want to make sure that she remembers anytime she thinks of this place, the first thing she wants to do is come see me.
I love it.
That's my kitchen table.
I thought this was her place.
It is her place till tomorrow.
My bad.
Hey, Jesus, I'm like around the corner coming back to the table, and I hear, and before I bend her over the table, I'm just like, boom, what's happening?
So I want to be clear. He's not
You caught it in the
carving.
best
Rictor
part.
was here in the table.
Maybe with his bacteria.
That's right.
She's a doctor. She'd wipe it down. Okay.
She's sanitized.
Just sanitize the place, but
All right.
yeah, that's good. I want to make sure I just really
Eat my breakfast there.
Yeah, I want to make sure that she's like, she ever comes back when
She's
the first
thinking
thing
of you.
She's thinking of me, and the
Okay.
first thing she tells the dog is, "Oh, have you seen Rictor?"
From there, you still got another day off. Where would you head in general? Would you go see the town?
So I want to spend a little bit of time. Well, so I know Perkins. We lost Perkins, and
Yes.
and his father is the major.
Yes.
All right, so I don't need to be too concerned with reaching out to his family. because the major is his family.
Right. You would assume the major would take care of that with anyone else.
I guess I'm going to follow up, and I want to follow up and just out of my own curiosities, because having had that run-in with the UPP guys at Boathouse, I want to circle back to base and find out what they were able to come up with from a diagnostic on the residue from the ship, the drop ship, to see if it was actually some kind of like thermite deposit or something like that from an explosive.
Okay.
Because I am curious for my own, thing to see if we were hit by a rocket, if we were shot down, or did we run into something.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so anything else that you would do? I'm just kind of I'm kind of getting just the feel for everyone, so I can kind of keep you guys on the same timeline.
Do I know anyone? So, well, I guess I need to understand what does Sergeant Rictor know about other corporations as far as their involvement. So, I know that the Colonial Marines, they're in charge of securing borders and space and things like that. Right. Where the marshals are in charge. They're charged with upholding colonial law on certain systems of colonies.
Correct. Generally,
basically, once you leave the planet, it becomes colonial marine jurisdiction as far as enforcing. We're border patrol, basically. Yeah. By default, right?
But even stronger, the way you would look at it is what we're seeing is you work for the UA.
Yep.
That's what the USCMC works for, is directly the UA. Indirectly, but it's pretty much a known thing through most people, you work for the corporations. In almost every case, Weyland-Yutani first, but you are called in periodically for other corporations. So you have, maybe not you, but you know that the USCMC has gone out for Seegson, LaSalle Biotech, any of the major corporations, you guys will be called in. Somehow it always ends up being a military thing.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah,
like now, who stands guard at the mayor's office, or does no one stand guard? Like
nobody
would it be there's no police, there's no like.
No, but something that happens on planet that's civilian is 100% marshals. Yeah. In most cases, a murder would be marshals. Now,
right,
the marshal could be called in to the military base if the military chose to give it to him. Otherwise, military base is military. That's USCMC. Unless the marshal's called on there, it's not his jurisdiction. So think of the planet with everything that's military as being a whole. All the rest of that is his. So if he asks, and this is the other possibility, if he asks or passes something to the military, which is what he did with the UPP incursion, if he, as marshal, passes that back to the military, now it's their jurisdiction. So in general, the majority of solid objects other than ships are going to be marshal if they have been contracted. So a space station would be the marshal, not the USCMC, if they're contracted for that station. They would be this planet, which they've been contracted for. Yeah, right. The other question you'd ask, your knowledge of corporations would be as far as you would like to take it. So Dave may have more information about the corporations than Rictor, but on the other side again,
Rictor's been around for a long time.
Right, yeah, Rictor may know more than Dave, the player, does.
Yeah, probably does.
So that's your choice. How much did you want to be involved in?
So how long has the colony been in place?
So the colony has been here 70 years.
70 years. Start off as a Weyland-Yutani colony.
Yep.
Seegson's looking to basically take over whatever Weyland-Yutani's leaving behind, right?
Sort of. So Weyland-Yutani owned the colony.
Right.
The colony is now asked to be set free from the yoke of Weyland-Yutani. And in return for that, Weyland-Yutani has to do nothing, and they are getting 50% of the profits made on all extracted oil.
Okay. So now, in the UPP's motivations, how do they directly compete with, like you're trying to establish footholds? UPP are kind of like, from what I've read, they're kind of like the Cold War, China and Russia,
Yep.
Cold War era China, Russia.
Correct.
So for them to have been, it come to my surprise that they're here on planet, right? They really don't have any business being here.
They have no business being here. This is a free colony.
And the only reason they would be here is because they're after something specific.
Right. You would think, right. Yes. Or just general mischief.
Seegson made the Working Joe, right?
Yeah.
Seegson's the ones that made the Working Joe.
They made the Working Joe pre like neural inhibitor or whatever that basically made them like unable to hurt others, right? They manufactured this Working Joe synth that was put out.
And there's never been any accident since that happened.
Right.
According to Lance Bateman, but it's probably
There's no official ones. That's
probably,
correct.
Well, now is it known that that some of these Working Joe models were sold to other companies and were used for various projects? Some of a non.
Would it be open? Everybody watching, like everybody knows what Disneyland is, basically, unless you're on the rock.
Disneyland still has
some,
Chevy trucks.
Right.
Yes.
So
like they don't have
being
Disney
Marine,
trucks.
Right? Being a Marine
you know?
sergeant, I've been in many briefings, right, and I've privy to a lot of different intelligence reports that have been shared with me based on mission orientation. So,
Yes.
you know, in my history of briefings and intel, you know, have we ever come across anything that would lead me to believe that, you know, Seegson sold Working Joes to other corporations to be used as combat synths?
No.
Okay.
If that's out there, that would not be common knowledge in any way. That would
Well, the
not
intel
be,
would be classified information.
No, I'm
so,
saying
yeah.
it would not be common knowledge, meaning people would not know that. That would on
That'd be
top,
black op.
Yeah, that would be black op. On
That'd
top,
be military stuff.
yeah.
There'd be like a mission oriented.
Yeah.
So going, hey, we
On
need that.
top, no, that's not what they were done for.
Okay.
The objective with the
Operation
Working Joe was to
Shield.
make. The objective with the Working Joe was to make something inexpensive,
Right.
to replace at the time the David and
The Bishop.
no, not the Bishop, the David and I forget the other model, the two from
I thought it was the Bishop.
from Prometheus.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Basically, a faceless,
Right.
more robot, less person.
All right. Now we didn't take any. Did we take any prisoners from the boathouse? I don't remember.
You took So to bring you back up with that, you took 4 prisoners.
Right.
You brought them in, and then two of them were
Oh, yeah.
killed.
They killed themselves.
One was one. All right, so one hung himself. 2
Yeah.
were killed, and one has disappeared, and nobody has found hide nor hair of
He
that.
disappeared after being incarcerated.
Correct.
From the Marshall station. They didn't have them at the military base.
No, not from the
They
Marshall
were at the
Station.
military
Yeah,
base.
the military
Okay, for some
base.
reason I thought that was at the Marshall
They
station.
escaped the military station. Nobody knows what happened to them.
Correct.
So that means there's a mole.
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you.
And you know about the
Finally, you
you
guys are
also
coming
know
around
about
to
the
Lance
looped
Bateman's
camera.
thinking.
You
Right.
found out that was done on site, but from one of the external ports.
Do I have any contacts inside the base that are other Comtech specialists, ones that maybe just monitor incoming and outgoing transmissions, communications transmissions? I'm gonna do a little of my own research.
Yeah, let me.
I'm concerned about the backlash of the UPP incident. Even though I'm kind of protected by the military, but you know, depending on the kind of blowback that comes from you know, these guys getting killed, you know, I want to arm myself with enough info and maybe uncover enough to paint them dirty if I need to.
Gotcha. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you. Yeah. What the hell? I'll have you make a manipulation roll.
All right, cool. So I've got 2 there.
I just got better at that.
I just got better at that. That's cool. All right, one extra die. All right, here we go. 4 dice. Nothing. I'm gonna push it.
Well, no, this is not something for pushing. You were asking, did you know?
Oh, okay. All right.
So you don't, because it's a new location, because it's kind of at the ass end of space.
Okay.
You don't know anyone else here. Your unit moved as a full unit here to add to Major Perkins' basically battalion that's here.
So do the Marines monitor? There's got to be something,
Yeah,
a major
they got
network.
to.
Does the Marines monitor only military transmissions incoming and outgoing, or do they monitor colony-wide transmissions?
So let's
incoming and outgoing?
let's go this way.
Because I'm thinking
The colony has been told that the Marines will follow the military bands and military chatter and space to ground.
Okay.
You know that's bullshit.
They're monitoring everything.
You know they're monitoring everything they possibly can.
Yeah.
All right. So then so I'm going to spend some of my time. So half my time I'm going to try and figure out, or as much time as I need, to try and figure out if we were hit by some kind of projectile.
Okay.
To see
Are
if
you
we
going to? Are you going to? I'm going to use the words correctly. Are you going to interfere with the group that is currently working with that information? Are you going into the
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go and be
so you're
like,
gonna go and be a part of it.
I'm gonna go and ask, and be like, so,
Well, not just ask. Are you going to be a part of it? Are you going to sit in there? Are you going to get in their way? Or are you just going to say, what do you got, and then leave, come back a couple hours, what do you got now?
Yeah, I just want to go in to find out where we're at with it.
Okay.
I just want to get an update, and I don't want to go and, that's not my forte.
That's why I'm asking,
forensics
because
is
it's
my
not.
thing, yeah. And then I want to spend the rest of my time trying to figure out who I would get into contact with at the base to go, hey, look, I'm curious, about the UPP contingent here on the planet and why they're here, if they've received any type of transmission, somebody that can basically be like, hey, I need you to log in and just maybe share what's going on, do some dirty work for me without, getting us too much trouble.
They didn't start investigating that after the debriefing?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, they probably would have. I mean, I would
the
hope
Bateman
they
didn't
would
seem
have
that
if they're
interested in it.
my
when
military
I tried
base.
to tell him about it, he wasn't that interested in it.
Well, so one of the things that you would know as a sergeant, that you would know as a military man, is you have a certain purview.
Yeah.
You have a certain collection of things that you're supposed
I have
to.
a certain need. I'm on a need to know basis.
Those
right?
are things that you're supposed to be involved in.
Right.
So, all of the things that you're talking about are outside of what you need to know.
Right.
That doesn't mean you don't want to know.
Exactly. And I'm at a point where I want to know.
Right. So you're bypassing that.
Yeah, I think that the interaction between having killed a couple of the UPP, assets,
They might be gunning for you.
probably not seeing the last of them. So I want to be prepared.
All right. So we'll start with going into the lab. So going into the lab, if you're not going to make a nuisance of yourself, if you're coming in and say, "Hey, what do you guys have?"
Start knocking shit over.
Well, but I don't mean it that way. But I mean,
Look at this. Is this important? Oh,
But I mean, doing things like,
you want to not keep these?
what's
other
that, or did you consider this, or if you're just going in and say, "Hey, what do you got for an update?" I brought the stuff in.
Yeah, I'll
If
let them
that's
know,
what-
hey, I'm looking.
But what I'm saying is, if you're basically in and out, and not messing,
I want to push them for a diagnosis. I don't want to be like, okay, just checking. No, I want to be like, what are we
All right,
really?
so you're gonna
we really dealing with? So I think it's probably a manipulation.
So now it's a manipulation role,
all right.
exactly.
Okay. So yeah, I'm really trying to get to the bottom of what we're dealing with here. All right, I don't have any, but I'm going to push it. I should be able to.
Okay.
I'm going to push this one. So
This one you can certainly push.
Right, so I'm gonna
This
get one
this
stress.
becomes a different thing.
Okay. Here we go. Come on. I have one.
Okay, so there's a couple of guys working on it, and initially they're like, yeah, Sergeant, we'll get to you, but then you push it, right? You kind of put in a little harder, and they're like, well, so we don't have a lot yet, but here's the way we're going. And the two guys that are working with one piece, you got probably, I'm going to say 4 people working in on the lab on this thing. The 2 guys that are working on the residue right now say, so we've ruled out the obvious, which probably we should have ruled out to begin with, but the major likes to be thorough. So it was not biological. There wasn't some kind of a bird or giant insect or something of that sort. As far as we can tell, it also was not some kind of weather. What we're looking at is what this stuff is, and you can see the little machine going, with the little beeps and whirs as it's running through stuff, and you can see these little you'll see a tape coming out with these little lines here, and so the tape's pretty long, and he starts bringing it through. So this is all standard residue. Anything metal is going to come through with this,
And do they just have the scrapings basically, right?
That's what you guys brought him. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you guys didn't cut up anything, but he's going through. He's showing you these are all normal. It's these here, and he goes quite a ways out the tape. He goes, and you can see there's already a big red circle. He says, it's these here that I think we're going to be able to connect this up with. We have a call into the marshal's office right now. There's a few things that we're trying to rule out. So,
how would marshal's office get that?
well, marshal's office has been here. We may have troubles. I don't know anything about the new marshal, but the old marshal worked with us pretty well. Give me an empathy roll, straight, no...
Straight empathy?
Yeah, just straight empathy, no... Damn it, what are these called? No stress dice.
Okay.
Just empathy.
We got one.
Nice.
You got one? Wow, all right. So, yeah, so you kind of have that everyman kind of talk about yourself. You're comfortable. So he says, well, so in the past, the marshal's office, and he gets a little quieter, and the two of them obviously are in on the same thing.
Okay.
Says the marshal's office periodically will get us stuff that we need to make comparisons. We had a few years back, and I know you weren't here yet, but a few years back we had an incident where we had a number of men coming in on thrust. Now, Some people like to do it for recreational purposes. That's their choice. I don't. And then he winks. You know, and the guy who's with him winks too.
What
We
is
love
thrust?
drugs.
What is that?
Thrust is the drug. You're asking him?
I'm asking him, what is that?
He says,
because I don't know. Rictor doesn't know what that is.
Yeah, he says thrust. Well, it's actually one of the bigger drugs that's been passed around. He said it's easy to put together. You know, it's easy to move. In a lot of cases, it can be moved in a gel. So somebody thinks it's some form of a lubricant or some form of an applicant, and he says it gets you flying.
Lubricant called thrust.
Thrust you up.
So,
New from
so what-
Seegson, Thrust.
Thrust.
That's that.
All right. So, what does this thrust make you do?
But it doesn't make you do anything. He says, what happens is you get, what I've heard is it gets you up to a
So,
high.
as he corrects himself, do I
Yeah.
think that he's?
Without a doubt.
Oh, okay. All right.
Without a doubt. So he says, what I've heard is that it takes you up to a certain point, and then you just kind of,
What's his rank?
Coast
his
down
rank?
through.
Is he military first? What is he?
he has to be military. He's going to be somebody who would have had some kind of a degree. So would he be a lieutenant
Is he an officer?
I'm
He might not
asking-
be. He could be a total. He could be a corpsman. He could be.
with a degree?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah?
if he
Okay.
needed a degree, I don't know. You know. It
Yeah.
depends.
All right.
So he's a
So
lab worker, basically.
yeah, but
you
with
know?
that, I'm
He could,
because
he could be a private that just
Yeah.
all he does is read the printout, you know what I mean? Where the ones actually writing the reports and the final diagnosis reports, things like that, are going to be the higher ranking guys.
All right, so he's going to be one of those. The whole crew in here is going to be the upper end. These are the guys that decide which tests to run those
Okay.
tests, and then write the
As
reports.
he corrects himself, I'm going to go, put my hand up and be like, look, it's not my first rodeo. Just be on the up and up with me. I don't care whether you do or you don't.
So he finished what he was saying.
Tell me
So-
what it does.
So you come up, and then you fly back down. You just coast down. It's about an 8-hour ride.
Okay.
And he says, and you can do most of your work. And he looks at the guy who's with him, and the other guy says, yeah, you can do most of your work without any problems. And he says, but there was a bad batch a few years back, and we needed to find out for the base where it was coming from. We needed to stop that group from coming in. Because obviously, if somebody were to be using it and it didn't affect their work, that's great. The bad batch was affecting people's work. Now, every once in a while, the marshal will work with us. What we're specifically looking for, and he moves papers around on the desk and then finally grabs a printout, and he says, there it is, and shows it to you. Says, it's these. And what you're looking at is a printed out picture of a drone. He says, these here, we're thinking it's one of these.
What is that?
He says, well, that's a high altitude drone. It's most cases it's for planetary surveys. Not sure what the hell it would have been doing up at that level now. Not over that area, but
So you think if we hit one of these things, or do you think it deployed?
so both of them look at each other, and you know, he says, if we're being on the up and up,
We are.
I don't think you hit it. I think it hit you.
Or do you think it deployed some type of ordnance?
Well, that's what we're something. And he pulls the tape back out. He goes, that would be in this area, and you just basically see a flat line through the whole area. He goes, that would be explosives. That would be some kind of ordnance. He says, this here, as he flips back, he goes, this is going to be telltale. We've got to go against them. You know what, Sergeant? Give us 4 hours.
I'll tell you what. I just so happen to have a connection with the new marshal. I'll take these.
The new marshal?
Yeah. What I do is I reach out to the tape, you know, and you hear me do this.
Oh, you're going to tear it?
I'm like, why don't you, I'll go ahead and take this, and I'll go down there and, make sure he knows to keep an eye out for something like this, and in exchange, you know what? I'll make sure that you guys have a good working relationship. And this is obviously
Well, I appreciate that, Sergeant. And he's smiling. And the other one is just short of laughing. He says, that's not going to help you. They're not going to know what that is.
the drone. I'm talking about the picture of the drone.
Oh, I got you.
That's what I
got you.
ripped out of there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He says,
Because this is what we're looking. This is what we're looking
Yeah.
for. That's what means something to me. Yeah.
well, so Sergeant, let me stop you there.
What else you got?
What we need is we need to find out what information they have. So yes, if you can have somebody from the marshal's office contact Well, contact the lab. And
Okay.
you know how to contact the lab. Have them contact the lab. That would be great. That takes something off of my plate. That would be wonderful. Thank you, Sergeant.
All right, and then you've got an update for me in 4 hours. I'd appreciate a call.
Do you need a call into the lab? And what you get is, are you going to give him your PDD? Or
Yeah,
do you
I'll
want
give him my PDD.
All right, so he's got that. So you'll get. You figure you're going to get that from him.
Okay,
So you
good.
step out with that. So then, for you, as you're wandering, Biggs passes by and says, "Sergeant, I thought you were on R&R for 2 days."
I am.
Very good. And he
I
just
keep walking.
and he just
Where's
leaves.
I look back. Where's Biggs going? Is he I'm heading out of the lab. Is he heading in there?
Oh, not in the lab. No,
Oh,
you're
okay.
just in one of the hallways.
Was he in civilian attire? Or was he?
No. He didn't get time off. You did.
Oh, he didn't get time off. Yeah.
Oh no, because he'd already slept and everything. I mean, he's
Yeah,
been
I'm-
here, right?
Yeah, I'm off. Yeah, I'm on leave. So I'm that's just
Right, but
doing my own
he
thing,
just said,
Okay.
and walked on.
So then
All
I'm
right.
going to take this new info that I've got, and I'm going to head down to the marshal's office.
Okay,
And
all right,
See if Baird is down there.
perfect. So, Dr. Langtree, for the next day, you get up. You've stayed on site at the medical center. Comfortable evening. It's nice. They appear to have soundproofed it. Anything short of them of calling in on you, and you don't hear any of the hustle and bustle outside. So next morning, somebody chimes in. It's probably Rose ending her shift, asking if you wanted them to save some food in the cafeteria.
Yeah, I'll say yes, please. I'll be out shortly.
Okay. And you eat a nice meal, and are you ready to start your day?
Yeah, so I would probably send an email to Dr. Kumari asking if she has like an official like route she wants to go through for the contract for the housing, like if there's like her realtor or whatever. I would say it more professionally than that, because
Yeah, of course. No.
I'm Dr. Langtree.
Right.
And
So
then
I'm motherfucking Dr. Langtree.
yeah, and then so I would start my day. I'd do my rounds. I'd go with.
Well, wait. So you send that,
Yeah.
and as you start your rounds, boop, you've got a contract that comes back.
Okay, I would come back to that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a personal thing.
Yep.
Like I would probably send the email during breakfast.
Right.
so
And it
then-
comes back long before breakfast is over.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Sure. And so yeah, I'll start my day.
Okay. Is there anything outside of the day that you're looking to do? Kind
Yeah.
of these extraneous things. What extraneous things?
I want to look into the experimental, whatever the
All right, the
experiment-
grant program.
Yes, I want to look and just kind of go start at like the most current experiment and go backwards.
Okay. How deep do you want to dive in? Do you just want to look? So my question is, so let's say that there's 10 things going on. You just want to look at, this one is, embryo expansion. This one is, the effects of thrust on, native
Yeah,
species.
I imagine there'd be
just,
some.
just looking at the topicals.
Yeah, what's the word like when you write an essay about your experiment, like a practical?
I know what you're talking about, but you're going to look at the basics for each of
Yeah,
those.
what is the experiment hoping to find out? What are the findings?
So, is there something you're looking specifically for? All right. So, the experiments that are currently running are all pretty innocuous. They're all based on the planet. So, they are something either in some form of people's, normal person's reaction to the air quality here, the water quality here, the food quality here. There are a couple that are based on the bacteria and fungi and different things that would affect the food, the growing food, and the the food animals.
Sure.
Cows. It's going to be space cows. It's going to be all of that kind of stuff. There is one that is very old that appears to have hit a stopping point. It's on the local corn. So local corn has 3 varieties as far as color. They're lost throughout all the different places. Like very few people are running a monocrop, and the original thing was to figure out were there nematodes or bacteria that were going to affect it. Were we in a position where something on the planet was going to wipe it out, like the potato famine for Ireland, something like that? And the end result was nothing was found, and so it was set aside. But looking through it, the reason why it hasn't just been completely put to bed is because there was a question at the bottom asking if there was a mutation within the corn, could something affect that? seemed to be pretty mild. The answer was, this is something for a future test.
Okay, and then so the military contracts we have,
Yep.
are those seemingly also just kind of like, how does the different air affect the Marines?
So military contract, your main military contract is them coming to you with the extreme situations that their doctors are not going to take care of. I'm going to say the emergency, but triage or that type of thing. You have, for your medical staff, you will have deals where you're expected to go there X number of days out of the month to do maintenance on their machines, that kind of stuff. And really all it is a monetary pass-through to keep you and them friendly and to keep you with money so that this medical center stays open. And go ahead and give me, for you, go ahead and give me a wits. I'm going to just do wits observation because I don't know what else it would be.
Okay. I got a success.
Okay. So what you really see it as is the military wants to have this base here, and this is a way for whatever corporations and or world governments that are controlling the military in some fashion or another, because whether you know it directly or indirectly through rumor, you know that the military is not just a military. There's other connections. They want to make sure that this medical center stays.
Okay.
You are the medical center for Andy's drop, but you're really the medical center for the whole freaking planet. So beyond that, though, there's limited stuff. You don't have grants. You have another pay through for the military to be able to use a couple of your units that they don't have, very expensive units that you have, that they can run different things on. It's a matter of if available, and they will always schedule that type of thing. And that's also another money pass and nothing more.
Okay.
At this point, the only one that I'm going to envision that stands out to you is going to be study of the Sargents. So as you're reading through that, and
This
I
is
would
a
think,
military study?
No, this is your study. This is actually a study from one of the corporations. Actually, it would probably be Seegson, since they are the main ones coming here. But what you'll notice with this one, first of all, corporation side, there is a pay addendum on there for LaSalle Biotech. And LaSalle is also paying you for the results, and there's I don't know if it'd be handwritten, because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense on a computer thing, but it'll, there'd be kind of that jog to the side that has Kumari's writing on it, or Kumari's information on it. And basically it says LaSalle Biotech receives all this information, but they get it 4 months after it's sent to Seegson first. So they're always in arrears, but they are paying a reasonably good fund. Now consider how much money a center like this, with all the beautiful stuff. I mean, this, again, you came here expecting to see, 2 beds and a cot, right? And instead you got a very large, we described it earlier, you've got a very large medical center. So it's kept up by all of these costs, and you know what you're worth. You've seen Dr. Morrison. If he's worth a similar amount and the nurses are worth what they are, there's going to be a lot of money needed to keep this place going.
In my experience as a doctor, do I feel that this is an appropriately sized medical facility for what
Absolutely not. This is way big. Way big. But knowing that this is a colony that is recently on its own, that is still has the atmosphere plants being taken down, the chance of damage, the chance of injury, the fact that it's only been 70 years. I mean, here on Earth, we're still finding things that we didn't know we had here on Earth. So 70 years, not very much.
And so the colony is the one who's paying my wages?
Colony is the one that's officially paying your wages, yes.
Okay.
But it's all wrapped up in the medical center, and the governor's involved too, in some respects.
Sure, but it's not like I'm not Seegson employed.
No, you are absolutely not Seegson. You are autonomous.
Okay.
So the Sargents,
Yes.
they are doing a study of the Sargents, and I would think that would draw you just because of the different things. And a lot of what Dr. Kumari told you about the Sargents, you had asked her what she knew as far as viruses and bacteria and that type of stuff. It appears that she was pulling it from this study. But the Sargent study seems to be an ongoing study. You have 2 nurses that are there that are running in conjunction with, an exploration team. The names are in there, but that's what it's called, an exploration team, and a military contingent that goes with them. And it looks like they are reasonably active. As soon as 15 days, or as recent as 15 days ago, there was a group sent out to collect samples. And as far as you can tell, the samples, the way it's written up, look like maybe they go out and tag, knock them out, extract DNA, maybe actually tag them, and then let them go. So they're being treated less like an intelligent life form and more like cattle or sea lions or eagles.
Sure. Okay, so there's information on like the population curves and their reproduction habits. Okay.
A beginning one. You can already tell that they don't have all the information on it. And if you go back on this one, I'm gonna decide that this one's only 25 years old from its start. Okay. And it does get an inordinate amount of money from LaSalle Biotech. There are other people involved in paying the grants, smaller, but the largest endowment is coming from them.
Are there any experiments that are tied to the oil rig that we were on when we landed?
Nothing directly, no.
In the writings about the Sigourneys, is there anything about like their pod specifically?
No, but they do. You can find a population grid and a migration grid, and you can see the group that appears to be moving around that rig.
Okay, like they avoid it, or like they spend.
No. I'm just saying
it's central to their
the group that's around that area, meaning in that area, not avoiding it. No.
Okay. All right. If I mean, I'm sure I'll think of other.
And this is not a couple of minutes. This is hours.
Yeah. So basically, like instead of sleeping on my downtime, since I'm actually rested, I would be looking through these.
And you're gonna have. I'm gonna use the word downtime. There's gonna have time where you're not doing something because there's not an emergency and you checked on all the patients and so you'll have just time during your day.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that would be it.
Okay. So I've caught Rictor up for the day. I have some more stuff for you. I've caught Langtree up. So with you two, Lance, your day, your morning now.
So after acquiring some breakfast of some sort, I don't know if I have anything stocked in my room or if I need
Not
to
that
go out
I
and
know
get
of. You
something.
didn't go buy groceries or anything.
No, it didn't come with anything.
No, it did not.
Like eating somebody's candy out of their desk.
Yeah, maybe I have some rations or something. I don't know. No. What have we been eating?
Protein
Have
juice.
nobody eaten in 2 days.
Well, they've all eaten different places.
Oh.
No, that's a you thing.
Yeah, Baird hasn't eaten a lot, but he did eat something. But that's mostly a you thing.
I haven't had much of an appetite with all the drug use.
Oh no, I take it back. You had a meal with Baird
Okay.
last night.
Okay. So yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and give Katrina a call back,
Excuse me,
and
not
I'll
last
get
night, the night before.
I'll get
So you'll call in Katrina. So
Yeah.
I'll
get breakfast after
You get no answer. You get 3 rings. It goes to voicemail. You hang up, and you're not even done with the PDD, and boom, there's a call from her.
Okay, so I'll answer.
All right. She says, Lance, I'm so sorry I didn't catch you on the first run. Do you have time to talk?
Sure, Katrina.
And she says, can you meet me at, and she tells you the name of a restaurant.
Oh, great. I was pretty hungry myself. I am on my way.
So you get over there. Right now, you can basically use the service from the hotel. So you get over there.
It's not a hotel. Now I'm in my room, right?
Oh, no, I thought you were staying in the hotel
Oh.
in your downstairs, first floor.
No, yeah, I'm trying to get my business set up to be my base of operations.
Okay, so you're going to
So, like,
let that space
it's not-
go?
What's that? The hotel?
The hotel?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like my building
You don't
had
have a
a
building
room.
yet, right? So you guys were in the process
Oh,
of doing it.
I
You
thought I
didn't
took
get
possession
finished.
of it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
then
you
I
had
need to
some
get
stuff
that.
going
Okay.
on with Fairweather. You haven't
Okay.
talked because she hasn't given you your codes yet. So that might be
I thought she gave me. I
that might
thought
be
she
the
gave me
start of
keys.
your day then.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so
well,
we'll start that, and then we'll have you talk to Katrina. How
no,
about
yeah, that's fine. I mean, I can do that later. I don't want to keep Katrina waiting.
that?
Over
So when you come in to talk with Jenny,
seeing Jenny again.
yep, when you get in to talk with
Burned
Jenny,
that bridge a little early.
Yeah, I thought we were done. That's why.
well, what happened is you still don't have the credit set up.
Oh.
That was the issue that you guys were left with. You'd needed to get paperwork signed by Mr. Fairweather, which you did, and then she was just waiting for you to set up your credit. So how did you decide to do that? Are you diverting funds? Are you creating a dummy account? Because again, you can do all that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just, put in an application for like a new colonist that's a produce seller that's working with deals around,
An application to one of the banks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, is there multiple banks, or is there just
Yes,
like
there
a
are a
Colonial
couple.
bank?
We've talked about that
well,
before. There are a
that's
couple
good.
here.
Okay.
All right. But the thing is,
One at a time.
If you're going completely,
I just want to use my knowledge of bureaucracy to kind of keep things on the down
all right.
low. And
so let's do this. Let's go ahead and have you make a manipulation roll. Basically, you're trying to do the same thing that you did with Jen, which is have them. They know who you are, but you have them put it in as something else. Anybody that you're putting in this trail, I want to say this. Anybody that you're putting in this trail potentially has the ability to let your secret go.
Yeah,
either by,
I get that.
Right.
And ultimately, I'm not even really worried if people on planet know. I'm not hiding it. In fact, I
Right.
was under the assumption, because I thought Marshall Baird dropped me off last night at that location.
No, he dropped you off. That's why I was saying the hotel.
Right.
Your
that
room.
was my afternoon action, was getting that business settled in, and so I didn't realize. At the
You
time.
never got the
So
afternoon to do it.
So the point
So
is
that's
that
today.
I don't think the marshal is like the credit police, and that he cares
Oh.
about that kind of thing.
He's
So
not the issue.
It's Schlegman that I'm worried about.
Yes.
So from a paper trail standpoint,
Right.
that's where I'm trying
And
to be.
that's what you're going to make the manipulation roll
Yeah.
for.
Okay, so I'm no longer stressed because
You are no longer stressed.
Okay, dang it.
Jeez, what's your secret?
Okay, I got one, but I'm pushing it.
Yeah, I'm going to say do that.
God dang it, dice, come on.
Now, see,
right.
if you'd rolled the alien dice produced by
Oh my
Freely
God.
Press.
I'm pushing it again because I have cunning, so I can double
Oh my
push.
God!
Character builder's letting you down?
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
But I can tell you the alien dice are not letting me down over here.
All right. Well, I got one more.
There you go.
Oh, I got two more.
Oh,
Excellent. And no aliens.
All right. So you tie goes to the
Good job,
attackers.
boys.
So not only do you beat them, you will get one, if you want to look it up, stunt to go with it.
Oh. Okay.
So-
So yeah, I would like to just make it extra challenging to find out what I'm doing here.
So the person that you're working with,
Do it
much
an
like
onion
what Jenny
with
did,
multiple layers.
understands what you're doing, works with you to set it up. This is going to be. I mean, if you want to hide your trail, you're going to have to kill this person. But this person
Right.
knows what's going on, sets it
Yeah,
up.
that's
you
fine
guys
with me. I
Shuffle
mean,
things around.
If
Now,
he really digs in and gets hold of her, then he can fucking know about it.
the credit, even though it's in other names, shell, credit still has to tack to something. So are you connecting it, say, to your retirement?
Yeah, at a certain point, it will somehow. Yeah.
All right.
Whatever.
Perfect. I'm just trying to get a basic.
At a certain
idea.
point, it will be traceable back to me, but it would be like, the first guy, Patrick Mary Fairweather, is an employee of this other guy who's a relative and partner with this other guy, and then they.
I have this crazy idea in my head that we have a collection of accountants and CEOs listening to our podcast and like,
Well,
that's not the way you do it.
There's things that Lance Bateman would know how to do that that Josh does not know how to do.
No, and I don't either. So you have that.
But they do get done, so somebody must know how to do them.
Well, there's no offshore accounts because
I say these gents don't have a basic concept of economy. Drat them all!
I'm done with this.
And
I
then
wash
he-
my hands of this podcast.
And he turns off the what's the crank, whatever those old things, the box phone, the old.
The tulip listening speakers.
Right. The old Victrola. All right. So you have that set up, and by early afternoon, you're going to go talk with Jenny, who now you have the paperwork to bring her, the credit to set it up on, and keep in mind that you'll have that credit, but at some point, if you don't start turning an actual profit, and that's something we can work on as we go. Jenny will walk you over to your location.
The original plan was actually to sell produce.
No, I get it.
but,
I get it. I'm just saying at some point you'll
But
have
that
to.
kind of fell through.
So, well, did it? Let's see. So you walk over with Jenny. She seems calm. She doesn't seem to be as I don't know, forward as she was before. She's certainly not by any means rude. She is completely, perfectly corporate, but just a little colder than she was last time. She walks you over. She runs you through how to set up your own system, to set up the alarm, etc. She sets that up. She walks you, shuts the door, walks you upstairs, walks you through the apartment, runs you through all the things that are in there that you are currently renting, lets you know that you are not renting from Sequoia. Sequoia is the carrier company. You're actually renting from the colony of New Dallas. And she tells you which bank they're working through. It would be, I'm thinking like the New Dallas National Savings or something like that. But something that's directed to the company. I'm sorry, not the company. Something directly connected to the colony, so the colony is able to double dip. And you are set up. You have your keys. You have your alarm code. You have the thing set up. So from there, what would you do? And are you going to cancel your hotel stay?
Yes, as soon as I'm done with the hotel,
All right.
What time did I agree to meet Katrina? How close is that?
You did because we had a chance
we undid that, right? Okay.
Yeah, you make the call and set up.
Okay, so then in that case, I will call Katrina.
Okay, and so you meet her in town. So your space is fairly close. It is, I would say, the words fairly easy walking distance. Although you could easily be driven as well. Although now you won't have the hotel to drive you around. But you'll be, maybe a 10-minute walk.
Okay, yeah, walking's fine. It's good for you.
So when you come into the restaurant, a quick scan of the restaurant, you don't see her, and then a second scan, she kind of pops up, and she's dressed in not her, crisp, strict stuff. She's in sweats. She has sunglasses on, and she notices you and just does a small hand wave and then motions you over.
Okay, so I'll kind of casually observe the room and then head over.
Okay, as you sit down, a wait staff comes, almost follows you down and says, "May I get you something to drink?"
Water's fine.
And sets down a menu and disappears. So Katrina says, "Sorry."
Yeah, as Lance Bateman sits down, he nods his head to her and says, "Miss Hill."
"Lance, it's been a long night." And she takes off her glasses, and it looks like it's been a long night. Now, if you didn't know her better, and you don't know her that well, you would think that she spent the night drinking and not sleeping. That's what she looks like. And she's drinking coffee, and you're guessing by the way that she is guzzling that this is not the first cup she's had. She has a wrapped wound on her left side where she would normally have that small head camera. She has a wrapped wound there, and as you look at it around the edges, it's a little angry red. You're assuming that she's had some reaction. You wouldn't know what, but some reaction to what Marshal Baird, and you saw.
Well, I was gonna say I was on the staircase leading up, looking down. I think.
Right. So maybe you didn't see what happened, but
it was dark and stormy night, right?
She would quickly tell you as you're looking at it. She says, "Well, that's what the marshal did." She says, "So I'm in a tough spot. I need to bring forward an expose by the end of this week." She says, "I have only a few days to make a decision on how to do it." Did you see the teaser? You and Baird did see it,
okay,
if I remember correctly.
Right.
You saw it in the precinct.
I did. Yes, it looks riveting.
Yeah. And it will be. My only question is, how much do I blame this on him, and how much do I blame it on the military?
Blame is such a bad word, Miss Hill.
Maybe not blame. Maybe direct attention.
And the marshal, I mean, I know he may seem to you like a monster, but he's really not that bad.
So she looks at you, and she points at the bandage, and then pulls the sweatshirt enough so you can see that it's a pretty good sized bandage. And there's that tiny bit of blood seepage that's cut to the end. It's not gross, but there's enough to know that it's not a nice, dry, sealed up cut.
Lance Bateman winces at the sight of the injury.
She doesn't open it up for you to see it.
At the sight
She says, "Well, he may not be a monster, but he's definitely power hungry and out of line. But I also need to work with him. He's going to be my way into most everything else."
Yes, I'm afraid that's true about a lot of people around here.
So then the option turns to, and I'm asking your opinion. I know that you travel these shark-infested waters quite often. What about the military? Do I run up against them? I thought that the sergeant that was on the flight with us was fairly obtuse and definitely narcissistic, but he also seemed to be very capable at what he was doing, and he, for all his bluster about telling us that there were only 2 people that mattered, yourself and the doctor, he did get us through all of that. We all made it here safe. So passing that information may shine poorly on his career, and I'm not certain I'm ready to destroy that career just to get information out, but I have to bring something forward. I was angry when I put that out, and I think I made a mistake.
Well, so Lance Bateman relishes this moment for a little bit because he now considers that he potentially has in his hands the careers, or at least some aspect of the careers of both Marshal and Sergeant Rictor, and he just drinks in that power for a moment before kind of resisting the urge, because what he does know is he knows that he has to get along with these guys whether they like him or he likes them or not, and that's what he alluded to in his last comment, that these people may do horrible things, but you kind of have to collaborate them on some degree to get things done. And so he knows that that's sort of the reality of this world. There's not a lot of people you can just run to. So his response, knowing these things, will simply be, Miss Hill, I greatly respect your pursuit of the truth, especially in ways that help Seegson come out looking better. But you have to really consider the enemies you'll be making by bringing charges against the military and or the Marshal Station without having a really strong case. What you experienced was a crisis, and people made bad decisions, undoubtedly so. But we all got through it for the most part, and I do give thanks to the military and the Marshal for that. So if it were up to me, I would consider really what risk tolerance you have for making enemies in this colony, and I would go from there.
Would you go on screen to say that you have respect for the both?
Oh, I don't think that's necessary.
I laughed, but she does kind of giggle with that. She says, "Okay, I get where you're going with this. Very good. Well." And the wait person finally comes over and takes a food order from you guys, and brings more coffee, and lets you guys go back to talking. And a little bit of talking, the food order is out fairly quickly, and it smells good. It's that comfort food, and you're hungry. So the combination of the two, I'm wondering if you're going to be indelicate in the way you eat. Are you starving?
All right, I dig in.
Still? Oh, so you are digging in. You,
yes, I am indelicate.
Indelicate.
Yes.
All right, very good.
Yes.
So as you talk a bit more with her, she starts to lay out what she's got. And what she's got is connected or not, she doesn't understand why. She thinks it's connected to you or Seegson in general, but the Weyland-Yutani owned USCMC must have shot down the Seegson bird with the intent to, and she starts laying out the reasons why she thinks this. It's going to be curious to you where she got all the information, but the pieces fit okay. From
the best of our ability to tell at the crash site, we did not think we were shot down, correct? We thought we collided with something.
Yes. In fact, that's what I believe both the Marshal and Rictor had said at some point that some people heard, is that you hit something.
Yeah, and so as interested at sensationalizing things as Lance Bateman is, he's kind of worried about this particular story. So,
and she asks you, she says, "Well, were you aware of the UPP attack on one of the other settlements on the settlement Cyprus?"
Oh, I hadn't seen that story yet.
Cyprus is a smaller settlement by far than Andy's Drop, and Cyprus is far enough away that USCMC is not able to quickly respond.
Yes, I was unaware. That is cause for concern, though.
Well, option 2 is, do you think the UPP shot us down?
Well, I like to believe, Miss Hill, that what happened to us was a bit of an accident, or at least if it was a collision, if it was not an accident, then I believe it was more of a collision than an attack. So I'm not really sure who would be capable of orchestrating something like that. But now that I'm saying that to her, I'm kind of thinking back to the pod in the field earlier and thinking like, oh, that's kind of coincidental, but 2 things crashed in a matter of days.
Well, so now the pod, it's an important thing to remember. You guys don't know when the pod crashed.
Right.
The boys found it just now.
But well, when we saw it, like in my mental image, it still had like smoke coming up from it and stuff. So there was there wasn't any like layers of dust on it either. So it wasn't.
No, it hadn't been there through weather and rain. No.
Okay, so it was semi-recent, but not immediate. Yeah. So.
I just don't know, but how long do footprints stay in soil? Like, is that something that's gonna...
In soil like that, those prints could stay for a very long time if nothing affects them. Something else walking through them, driving over them, rain or the like, because it's soil that's had to have been made the best they can for growing. Now, corn grows in lesser quality soil than others, but yeah, if there's nothing there to disturb the footprint, like weather of some sort, it can stay for a while. So we're going to close episode here while the 2 of you continue talking about all the stuff she has for her expose.
Yeah, I would also make the suggestion that she spend some time talking to the military and the Marshal Station as well, just to see if they found anything else about, UPP incursions.
And we'll close there. Thank you for listening to another NCRP Productions podcast. To stay on top of everything we're doing, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and like us on Facebook, all at NCRP Productions. You can show your support and help us continue to produce content by joining our Patreon. We offer additional podcasts like our B-Sides and have GM materials, maps, and other fun things you can discover over time. You can find our podcasts on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, and many other fine podcast sites. Just look for us at NCRP Productions. We value your thoughts, so please don't hesitate to leave us feedback or comments. And if you would like to contact us directly, you can email us at ncrpproductions@gmail.com.